Two taps, calling the meeting to order. It is Thursday, November 20th, 2025, 5:30 p.m. We are at the Poetry Town Hall at 5671 County Road 323, Poetry, Texas, 75160. And we are here tonight to have an executive session followed by a workshop, followed by a regular town council meeting, trying to make good use of our gatherings. So we're going to try to squeeze it all in. We are, as I said a moment ago before we started, going to have to either ask everybody to leave and we'll stay in here for executive session, or if it's raining, we'll find some place to go and try to leave everybody else sitting in here. But either way, we've got to go somewhere private to have that conversation. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Call for quorum. I'm Mike Jaffe, Mayor and Present. Mayor Pro Tem Fowler. Here. Councilman Anderson. Here. Councilman Kendrick. Here. Councilman Bryant. Here. Councilwoman Hibbs.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum established. Let's stand, and Doug is going to lead us in the pledge, and Dale's going to lead us in the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord Father, thank you so much for this opportunity. We do pray that you just let us act responsibly for the citizens of poetry, Lord. Give us wisdom and guidance. Lord, we just pray and ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so what's let me see what the weather is out here.
David, do we need to turn our microphones on?
Yes. Turn them back off.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, it's starting to rain. What do you want to do? What's our...
Go to the bathroom.
We could go in the big bathroom and close all the doors and just stand.
I can go sit in my car. I don't mind if it's raining or not. My wife's not here. She's got a big vehicle.
Yeah, everybody's got to leave, so we're going to be about 30 minutes is my estimate.
Over water. I can go sit.
Okay, are you okay sitting in your car for a little bit?
30 minutes.
Do you mind? We got to kick you out because we...
I can't understand or hear most of what's being said anyway, so it's quite irritating.
You still got to leave even if you can't hear, but... Okay, well, let's do that. Let's have the public leave, including... Ian?
guy come by, you know.
Who was that?
He will.
I don't. Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Yeah, he's got a,
There he is.
he's got a hearing issue.
Hey, Mike's had a
He's
haircut too.
almost deaf. Okay, I didn't recognize him.
I didn't either. Tracy told me. Or Tracy led me down the path.
Yeah, I let him down the path.
Yeah, I just, sir, okay. Yeah, because he's told us before that he struggles with hearing us. Okay. Yeah, because he's told us before that he struggles with hearing
I'll
us.
look in my bag of tricks.
Thank you, Teresa. Okay, come on in.
Hey, Mike.
Ma'am.
Are you gonna be at the vendor thing? Farmer's market?
Do what?
You're gonna be-
Okay, appreciate it. We'll wait on him.
I want to try some of your cookies.
Test 1, 2. Test, test, test. Public is live.
Come on, lady, we're waiting on you. We're dancing. Okay. We're dancing. It is 6:02 and the meeting is back in session. We wrapped up our executive session just for the benefit of the recording and those who are sitting here. So we do have the ability as a council to occasionally break off. We can even do it without it being scheduled into an executive session. There are only certain topics we can discuss in it. The one tonight had to do with personnel, and it is because as a mayor, I run the town hall and the secretaries on a day-to-day basis, but I have very limited authority to affect things like pay and titles and any other things. So any discussions about that has to be done with the council, and it's just not appropriate to do that in an open session. So that's what we talked about in executive session, and enough said about that. So now we are moving into the workshop agenda, and we are going to talk tonight, item 1, about subdivision ordinance, or some towns call it subdivision regulations.
Yeah.
And the reason we want to have this talk, a couple of weeks ago, we met to talk about the Bishop Field Municipal Utility District topic. And, you know, one of the frustrations of some of us, it wasn't specific to Bishop Field, but just development in the ETJ, is that we as a council have very limited ability to affect what goes on in our ETJ. And that's a little scary because more of our town is ETJ than is town. And so we want to try to do what we can. Well, it turns out the lawmakers in Texas saw fit to give towns the ability to reach into their ETJs and govern subdivision development, right? So platting and other things. So by law, we have the ability, and I included that stuff in the packet. I know it made it long. It wasn't meant for you to print it all out, but just so you had some backup. I think it's Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 212, I think it is.
It is 212.
Goes into great detail on all of the powers that we have in the ETJ. And so as we look forward to ongoing growth and development of the town, with the right subdivision ordinances or regulations, we have the ability to have a lot of say in what those developers build, right? Whether it's somebody putting up a little tiny home community or somebody building a 1,000-acre subdivision, we can talk about roads and lot sizes and all kinds of things. Now, currently, as you're aware, and it was also in the packet, we have 3, sometimes they call them 1445 agreements. That's because there was a House bill that said you have to have an interlocal agreement with each of the counties that you lie in. Most cities only lie in 1. We're in 3, Rockwall, Hunt, and Kaufman. That basically clarifies roles and responsibilities of the county and the town. And so we have those agreements, but in our agreements, we basically surrendered all authority over platting and subdivision stuff to the counties. And as some citizens have pointed out over the years, as we've sat here as a council and talk, it creates a little bit of a disparity in our town, right? If you live in the Rockwall portion of our town, or you live in the Kaufman portion, or you live in the Hunt, it's possible that the regulations are going to be very different that you have to comply with, right? Because Kaufman has their subdivision ordinances, Hunt County has theirs, and Rockwall has yet another one. So our citizens are a part of one town, Town of Poetry, but they're going to be treated three different ways possibly, right? And so I don't know that signing the agreements, I'm not going to render judgment on that. I was a part of that, back when the decisions were made. But I think we now have the benefit of having grown up a little bit. And I personally, as a mayor, I don't get to vote, but as the leader of the group, I personally feel like it's time for us to start working towards taking this back and taking responsibility for what goes on in our subdivision. Now, having said that, and I'll shut up here in a second, it's a little bit like adopting an elephant, right? Because it seems like a cool idea and all your friends are going to be impressed, but it's like when you get around to the taking care of it, actually implementing, it's going to be a lot of work, right? We've got to do permits and inspections and building codes and all sorts of other things. But I am completely confident in our ability to pull it off in the long run with the right tools, and we'll talk about some of them tonight, and with good legal advice and all of that. I feel like we can be successful, and I feel like we need to be successful. I think we said we wanted to be a town. This feels like one of those things that we just need to figure out. We need to put on our whatever, I won't say it because I'll get in trouble.
Our overalls.
Yeah, we need to put on our overalls and just do what we're supposed to do. So anyway, I'll open it up to council and.
Oh, it's Mike. First question is, are we the only one that's turned this over? Or, for example, Terrell, do they manage their ETJ themselves?
Yes.
And Kaufman and Greenville, they all do. So this is really something because we're small.
That's correct. So they all have ILAs, interlocal agreements, because by law we have to. And that just says, I'm going to do sewer, you're going to do regulations. It just divvies up the responsibilities. But yes, those cities, Rockwall, Terrell, Kaufman, they are doing their own subdivision regulations.
The other question is getting out. I was reading, looks like Hunt County, that's a 1-year agreement. They never did do the 2-year agreement that we asked for. Kaufman did. So, but you have to give them 90 days before their expiration.
That's correct.
Expiration's in January.
Yeah.
So we're already inside the 90 days for Hunt. Kaufman, it's 2 years. So I guess it's a legal question, and I'm asking is how do we, or is it even possible for us to take action to get out of it within a year for?
Yes, it is possible. And I've actually talked to Kaufman and Hunt, to their subdivision people, their development guys, and they all believe we need to be doing this ourselves, and they're happy to do it for us, but they believe that we need to be in control of
legally,
this.
does Dave Berman think we can get out of it?
Yes.
Just by, even though the
well, we have to give them notice, and we basically would sign a new ILA that would just have things taken out that are going to come back to us. And it would leave them in charge of, so sewer, we don't want sewer, and we can't do sewer. So sewer either goes to the county, that would be my preference, or we can actually do it with TCEQ, but I don't think that'd be a good idea.
So we're not looking at doing away with the ILAs.
You can't.
We're looking at modifying.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
just modify.
We would sign a new one.
And so, which they're coming up, at least Hunt County comes up in January.
Yeah. Well, we'll work through the timing. I don't think that's an issue. I think the bigger issue is
We can't get an ordinance in 2 months.
no, and we're not going to be ready. And just our luck, some developer would move in that gap,
Yeah,
and we'd be in
we're
trouble.
here.
So,
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. I'm just saying I think we're going to do a better job because
well, have to
we
get
live
an
here.
ordinance.
Yeah. So,
Okay, I have a question.
yes.
So, since we can only extend a half a mile outside our city limits, that limits us on what we can do in the ETJ. And then my other question was, so that's referencing chapter 42 of the local
The
government
half
code?
mile set by the density of the city.
Right,
size
so
of
we're
the
under
population.
5,000
So it's
people, so it's a half a mile.
That's correct.
And then the other thing is because of the annexation laws changing, we wouldn't even be able to do that if I'm reading it correctly.
You gonna turn it down?
Because
Mike?
then
Yeah.
you would have to get owner's permission.
To do what?
So if
I think you're
we
talking annexation.
did, if we did a subdivision ordinance that included the 5 mile or half mile outside the city limits, then that would actually be annexing people's property. Cities can no longer do that.
Not
No.
automatically.
No, we're not annexing. We're just telling them what the development needs to look like, what the standards are.
That's what
one
we
of the
currently
counties.
have right now.
Yeah,
But
it's
at the
nothing to
county
do with
level.
annexing. Annexing is a whole separate thread.
And nobody's gonna annex unless we have something to offer.
Right.
Well, she's saying forceful annexation by the
Yeah.
towns.
Yeah, we're
That
not.
stopped in 2019. But to my understanding, when we passed these 1445s, was they had to be passed according to the law.
Right.
and that-
Something needed to be in place.
Right. And that gave the counties the jurisdiction
Right.
to implement their subdivision regulations. All we're saying is we want to reshift the authority back to the town.
That's correct.
For something like
I totally,
something.
I totally understand that.
Okay.
I,
Okay,
I'm
so
on
where's the
board with
annexation
that.
come in then?
so chapter 43, it says, this chapter addresses how annexation differs from home rule cities versus general law cities. For example, a home rule city can often annex without consent, while general law cities typically need consent from landowners or voters.
For annexation.
Well, if we're gonna tell people what they can do outside of our city limits, that would be. I'm just asking. I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
so.
something we need to look into, though.
Yeah, that's just simple. I mean, we can ask. the
Yeah, it's pretty
attorneys.
clear.
Yeah.
Let me take a second because it came up. Let me read two paragraphs here from our attorneys. I don't remember if I shared this with you, but certainly can. So I asked David, our attorney, about, I said, we're going to have a conversation about the pros and cons of, Town of Poetry subdivision ordinance regulations, blah, blah, blah. His comment was, Mike, all cities and counties in Texas are required to have 1445 agreements. If we adopt subdivision regulations and assume regulatory authority over plats, we would simply revise the existing agreements we have with each county. The agreements would leave in place the county's responsibility over OSSF sewer, or alternatively, that responsibility would be delegated to TCEQ. Now, then he said in a separate letter that I'd sent before that one, he says, the process is correct. Now that we have zoning in place, a set of subdivision regulations is next. He says, however, be advised, it's not simple or short. He says, typically we're looking at 80 to 100 pages long. That's assuming we incorporate street and facilities construction standards by reference, and we would want to. We want to make sure, for example, the roads they build can accommodate fire trucks and police cars and things. We don't want to be one of those embarrassing situations. He said, it is correct to look at subdivision regulations from other cities. He said, be careful. Some cities have adopted a unified development code that combines zoning with subdivision regulations. He said, avoid those. They're too complicated. He said, publication and public hearings are only required for street and drainage facility standards, but for poetry, we should do it anyway, even if not required. So David is not against this. He's saying, listen, you did zoning. This is the next natural step, is to move over, because we've had enough zoning stuff lately with, people wanting to split lots and mobile homes and other things to realize that, okay, we got to get a handle on this whole platting thing and all of that. Leaving that with somebody else is not going to go well in the long term. Okay, so back to you, Brian. Or, Dale.
So what is your question? Are we?
Well, I just think we need to double check to make sure that we don't have to have approval from the landowner.
Okay.
According to chapter 43 of the local government.
Okay.
Code.
Yeah, we can look that up.
And then I guess my other question, let's see. I don't guess I have a question. I just have a statement that in order for this to work, we have got to first and foremost get our planning and zoning corrected. Because if the planning and zoning, so I talked to TML the other day and I was asking them, does our map supersede our, I don't know if that's the right term, our planning and zoning? And she said, absolutely not. Your planning and zoning is a legal binding document. So I won't get into details, but there was something in the planning and zoning document that was not correct on the map. And the planning and zoning document goes first before the map. So those two things, in my opinion, need to be rectified. And if you will read the 1445 agreements, all the counties required us. Hunt County was the only one that said they would fix the map. Rockwall and Coppin County said it's our responsibility to fix the map of the removal or increase in the ETJ.
Okay, going around the table, Dale?
I agree with subdivision ordinance at some point. I think our problem is we're not ready.
Okay.
I think.
Well,
We
we're not gonna
need-
vote tonight, by the
Yeah.
way. This
No,
is
I
just a
know,
conversation.
I know.
so.
It says.
Yeah.
Discussion on
Right.
that. All right. The zoning ordinance, we need to fix it. We have said from our first back porch meeting that we're gonna focus on planning and zoning. We've given it 15 minutes for 5 months and we've done zilch. I'm not sure if we're in a position, if we can't deal with our zoning ordinance, a subdivision ordinance, we're talking
Well, the
years
Yeah.
to get there.
so the P and Z ordinance would supersede any subdivision.
And one of
ordinance.
the reasons why I say that is because we can look at a lot of little towns' development agreements, and there's a lot of good ones out there.
Mhm.
But we're the only town that's 311 feet down both sides of the road.
And in 3 counties.
And in 3 counties. I'm just telling you, Terry knows when the zoning committee, we would go to a 2-hour meeting and we spend 2 hours talking about billboards. That's how grueling of a process this is going to be. My only thing is, and I agree, we can get the ball rolling. Let's write down some objectives and goals and figure out what's the steps, the logical steps and things that we can be doing now over this next year and a half, 2 years to do a subdivision agreement. But we have got to fix the zoning ordinance because the zoning ordinance basically it covers us, ties us over until we can get the development agreement. And there's
Well-
so many things wrong with the zoning ordinance. We can fix it. You've all seen my comments,
Mhm.
and we haven't done anything. And I don't mind taking that on and draft something up to fix it. But if we can fix a lot of that, and quite honestly, some of this platting, and I think platting is a big, big issue, that it was, okay, what do we really need out of a development agreement? Platting is one of them. We can alter or amend our zoning ordinance to kind of cover our butt for a year until we can get this development agreement in place.
Well, they should marry each other.
Well, the other thing we can do, Dale, and I think it was David that suggested, our attorney, is to get with it's going to be mostly Kaufman and Hunt because we don't have any actual town in Rockwall. So to me, that's not quite as urgent, but get with Hunt and Kaufman County development groups and make sure they have copies of our zoning ordinance, make sure they have copies of our maps, including the comprehensive one.
The one we have.
Right, so they can be kind of covering us while we're building our own, right? And, because I don't think this is adversarial, they're not gonna be mad that we're taking this over, they're gonna be happy, because they don't need more work, they've got plenty to do, but we can do some reinforcement, I think, in the short term and say, hey, guys, do you have a copy of our ordinance? Do you know what our sort of rules are? Do you have a picture of our comprehensive map and all of that? And then, to your point, we could go, I actually made a note, I will put zoning on the December agenda, on the next agenda, so we can go back and start working towards, because one of the contradictions I see in our zoning ordinance is it says it applies in the ETJ, and that's not legal. It cannot apply in the ETJ, so we've got some like really glaring stuff, but then we've got some more subtle, but I think I concur, and I'm sure others here do probably as well, it needs to be fixed.
Are you in agreement that we should start working on the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Do you mind if I draft? I mean, you all have my notes. Do you need to review them again? You've had them 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, we're not gonna.
I've only gotten one response, so.
Yeah, I think it's probably best to have a couple people just you
I
and
agree.
pick somebody else. I know you've worked with Tom a lot on zoning. I
do
don't know
that,
if Tom
Tom?
wants to help out with it, but
Well, yeah, I guess, but my question is does that, is which comes first? Do we modify, because reading, when I read these 1445 agreements, it looks to me like we can make the edits or the splits that you talked about with the Hunting, with Kaufman, before we have the zoning, because the zoning is, you said that's gonna take a long time, and I agree with Dale on that. But on this one, if there's agreement on the 1445s about what we can control, why wouldn't we go ahead and do that? And the reason is we're looking at Hunt with Bishop Field coming up soon. Hopefully not, but probably. And then right after that in Kaufman County, it's the Lamar Ranch, which is even bigger. And so we've got at least two. There may be others that I don't even know about. So we've got at least two. So, you know, I understand what Dale's saying about it's taking, zoning's gonna take a long time, but at the same time, do we have to wait and modify this until after zoning? Or do we go ahead and get this
I
modified?
think you need a development agreement before you even want to go try to amend that.
Well, I
The
guess,
1440.
yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Well,
Why would, if we don't have anything to replace it with, why would we want to modify it?
Well, because these are generic statements, the way
Sure
I
they are.
read it.
And that's,
These are not specific, and
Sure.
this is very, very general, all three 1445 agreements.
well,
So they're just saying, in general, you'll do this, you'll do this, you'll give us this authority. We're just saying, look, we want to say, no, Poetry will take care of this, you take care of that. But how we'll do it, what it'll be, that's what comes up next. But the first thing is to agree how we're gonna reorganize the 1445 agreements in my mind, because that can be done, I think, quicker than the zoning
well, I
issue.
think you could almost do them in parallel, although it takes, you know, you gotta have plenty of resources. But I don't disagree with Dale's comment. It's probably time and maybe past time to go back and, you know, to me, if I were to decide based on what takes up most of my time during the week, and Tom, you and Dale's as well, it's our current zoning, it's application of our current zoning ordinance. Can I put a trailer in? Can I build a fence? Can I have chickens? Can I get a shop? I mean, those questions are like coming in every single week from people wanting clearance on that kind of stuff. And so to me, the cleaner that ordinance is, the simpler it's gonna be to interpret and apply it. So, but I don't think, I mean, I'm not sure one takes away from the other. I think they're both important. To me, if I had to buy us some time, because we only have so many hours in the day, again, maybe we go shore up with the counties to make sure that the 1445 agreements we have are doing a really good job of watching our back, right? They understand who we are. They're gonna call us the second they get a request. They're not gonna forget to
Fine.
send us copies of it, whatever. So build a relationship to the Brian Tools in Hunt County and with the folks over in Kaufman. And then meanwhile, maybe come back and let's clean up the zoning ordinance, because that takes several steps. We've got to have hearings. I think we have to have like 2 public hearings. We have to discuss it. We have to do some things. And I don't have an issue with, you know, Dale and one other person, whoever wants to volunteer, and I can be in there too, because I'm not part of the quorum, kind of coming up with what we would present to council and to the public as our version, you know, 1.2 or something, you know, whatever the next
okay, so
version is.
you
So-
have my comments.
Okay.
Is that not a good place to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can start. You want to work on it?
Well, yeah, I work, but I have
Okay.
other things that you didn't mention that I didn't like about it. And
Oh, yeah.
we'll
It's-
like to
yeah,
throw in.
exactly. And I'd love to see them.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay.
I gave everyone 4 or 5 months ago and I get nothing in response. I'd love to see, please.
Well, trust me,
please
we haven't been
show
on
your
busy.
comment.
We've,
Well, the
but I
other
do
thing is
appreciate the passion.
so,
what the mayor's saying though is he's given us time, or he's futuristic, given time in a meeting so we can hash out those
Right.
situations, what your concerns are. Because right now we haven't really got together in a group to say this is good, this is bad. So
Well, I'm saying basically, let's put having our own subdivision ordinance on the list of things we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Right, because I think it's important. We can pick the order and pick the prioritization, but let's put it on the list, because I think it's one of the things that we need to accomplish. And let's talk about in this conversation, some of the things we want to make sure we consider.
So can we
Well-
outline our process? We should at least start with an outline.
I'll present one and then we'll
Mhm.
look,
You
present one and we'll.
I
we'll
sent,
you want me
I
to
sent
do that?
everybody an outline.
Huh?
I sent everybody an outline
Of,
from North Texas COG.
No, yeah, I got that.
That,
how about
That
Tad-
is-
Tad's paper? Oh,
it-
no, not the COG, you're, TML.
Yeah, it
COG,
goes
okay.
through how it has to go. Planning and zoning comes first. Then you have to go into your subdivisions and plating and all that. There are steps we have to follow. We can't just say, all right, we're gonna amend these 1445 agreements and that's it. It's not that simple.
Well, I'll tell you that the one where I will come in heavy on this is I don't want our attorney to draft either one of these two things, the cleaned up P and Z
I agree.
or the ordinance.
Not,
That's
not
just,
the initial, no.
yeah, we'll get him to approve it once we come up with it, but I don't want him to be the creator of them. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good ones out there. We can just carve them up and make them our own.
And you know, some of the programs that we're gonna talk about shortly, we'll be able to capture a lot of that stuff.
Okay. Doug, you want to finish weighing in?
Yes, Mayor, if you would, because I put a lot of time in this portion of the item on subdivision ordinances and I agree. In fact, I've had conversations with some of the council folks here and there that we've got so many balls up in the air. It's a matter of picking them all out because they're all intermingled once you put them in the basket. So what I have done is I've read some of the agreements, preferably Hunt County because that's where I'm at. But I have looked at the other ones that we have, and each one references. We're going to show you a map. I mean, we're going to show you a plat, and if you okay it or not. But we don't have anything to stand on to say, well, yeah, that looks good to us, or we need to change it because we don't have anything on our own as a subdivision ordinance to say, well, in our subdivision ordinance in our city, this is what we require that we would like to see. And it works in a conversation between the county and us. And as we already discussed, the county is wanting us to put our coveralls on and help out and to help ourselves. The one thing too that I wanted to even mention before I got started was that I understand what the community is really watching us over as far as bringing things that are going to disrupt their lifestyle. Subdivision ordinances and some of this presentation that I was going to give y'all is something I hope to make the community at ease a little bit because it's a matter of us protecting ourselves from when others come in, like subdivisions and all of that stuff. We've already talked about planning and zoning, that will help as well. But what I wanted to present is for everybody to understand we're trying to do something to protect us in our community. And so we already know that these subdivision ordinances are supposed to, as Councilman Fowler has established, in a last meeting, for our health and safety and general welfare of the communities. The regulations are intended to prevent the town of Poetry from being burdened with substandard streets, roadways in the future, and thereby protecting the community from unnecessary maintenance. I mean, that goes without saying because that's what we always want to hear is the roads. So that's what I want to make sure that everybody does understand, that we're wanting to work for the community to protect ourselves. Things are going to happen, but at least having a document will help us, especially when the county's looking at us and going like, well, we got this plat, it's going to touch into poetry a little bit. So what do so establishing these things, plats are usually a 12-month deal. So somebody can't come in and just say, hey, I want to do this. And it rocks along. And then next thing you know, it's a year or two down the road. And, but legally they're good for 12 months. So they got to make some sort of, mind to make, developers shall be responsible for complying with the applicable regulations of the controlling entity and or the provisions of any applicable interlocal agreement So there's your counties.
ILA.
Okay. So generally in the case of the county and the municipalities have regulations that differ, the more restrictive regulations will take precedent to be enforced. The other thing, as I said earlier, it's a lot of things and a lot of balls we got in the court. And I think if we got enough talent here that we can put things together and work on them simultaneously as well. Because I also mentioned the location of existing boundary lines and subdivisions and the total acreage, including the estimated acreage of each lot. You know, these people are going to come in and they're going to start surveying, and we are always talking about surveying and making it right or wrong. You know, these people are going to come in, they're obviously going to do the surveys as well. Floodplain rather, I'm sorry. They're going to be looking at floodplain, because I know that's the other thing we've been talking about is floodplain. They're going to have engineers that look at the floodplains, the hydros and all that. One of the other things that can be looked at is the topos. So I call them topos. They're the elevations.
Yeah.
So that way we can also double check, even if we can't do it ourselves. The engineers will be looking at their own topos, but then at least we've got an idea of which way the water's going to flow off into the boundaries. A portion of the larger tract, which will be subdivided later, the master plan of the subdivision in its entirety shall be submitted with the preliminary plat. So once somebody brings in a big plat, we'll just use an example, Bishopville, they can't add on, it has to be in a master plan.
Right.
So
That's
that,
in the ILAs too.
Yeah.
so, then of course, the town shall not be responsible. Now, this was one thing, there's a lot, at the end of this, I have some recommendations just to throw out on the table. But if we were having a subdivision come in, typically the subdivision, once it's been inspected and it's been approved and so forth, so on, that becomes property of the city. Our decision down the road is going to be depending on whether we want to take that burden of extra roads on our own. So we can actually still make those private roads within the subdivision, if so choose. Okay. So that's why I'm saying these things are critical, because they also can be a discussion, negotiations, whatever you want to call it, when we're meeting up with the county and developers on these type of situations. The review, again, I mentioned before, review and development drainage plans with the subdivision. Planned drainage dishes with culverts under the Ely Street in the direction of the flow. Construction bond, that's a big one. It's a 2-year construction bond. And then plus they have a maintenance bond. So if there is anything wrong, it's going to be up to the contractor or the developer to make sure that things are getting fixed. The condition of the maintenance bond, part, the condition of the maintenance bond shall stipulate that the developer shall guarantee to maintenance to the satisfaction of the town of Poultry, because I put Poultry in of this, in for a period of 2 years. Suggestions that this is kind of as I went through here, I would recommend that if any development that we had or no cul-de-sacs are any longer than 600 feet, because I've seen a lot of developments, and I'm sure Dale has too, they want to make those cul-de-sacs as long as they can, and because they don't want to put any more roadway in to connect the two cul-de-sacs. So 600 feet's plenty, and they could put houses on those, and that's accordingly. That says in some of the, and it is, again, some of the notes came out of the Hunt County thing. In any area not controlled by approved rural water supplier, developer shall provide written approval from the TCEQ for the quality and quantity of the water to be provided to proposed subdivisions prior to submittal of the preliminary plat. So there's still a lot of groundwork going on and during these things. the development fees are associated with the developer's plat. You know, when the counties are doing these things and when we get bigger and doing our own, you know, they put in a lot of money, anywhere from $300 to $100 per step that they go into these plats. One of my other things that I actually forgot to hard type is that, and it comes in the zoning as well, if you will. When we're talking about subdivisions, I reckon my thoughts would be to look at the SFE, which is estates, and use that as a subdivision section, because what you may want to look at having is a minimum number of houses that can be put on a lot before it's considered a subdivision. So those are some of the things that I've seen that come up, and they are quite discussed, you know. But I can't, you know, every town has different avenues. You know, I've seen anything over, if somebody's got some land they want to put 4 houses on, that's fine. If they want to put 5, then that goes over that and then considered to be a subdivision. But then they have to really come up with the planning of the streets and utilities and all that kind of stuff is their work. So I know it's you know, it's a long discussion that could be, and I appreciate the time that y'all gave me to go over those, because, and I have no problem because I've been working on it, you know, for quite a while. If Dale and Tom do one thing, and I can work on the subdivision ordinances, and at least we can have some momentum going and take it by steps through an outline
Well,
process.
I would also suggest, I know we really haven't taken advantage of it while I've been in this chair, we start using the forum where we need others to weigh in and we don't have a meeting coming up, you know, we can put this out on the forum. I mean, this is all public stuff. It's not like there's anything covert about it. And that way, you know, you could put up, Dale, for example, here's a revised copy of the zoning. What do you guys think? All of us can weigh in legally without being in a meeting. We give you some feedback. That way, when we bring it to a proper meeting, it's like right there, right? It's pretty well refined. And then equally, Doug, with subdivision regulations. So
One of the other things too, because it's becoming dear to me because of wanting to protect what we had and make the community help support us, which they do now. But you know, if we have a subdivision, regardless whether it's in the ETJ or whatever, and they're going to use our roads to get to it, and it's stretched over 125 foot of road, that town of Poetry, I think they should go in there and revise it, build it up, because it's going to be their traffic on that part of the road, the turns and things like that. So
And there's a lot of regulations
And so-
state laws to
exactly.
kind of
So,
govern that.
you know, those are the things too that we want to make sure. Again, this is what we're trying to do for us that live here and try to help make it
well, I
better.
think to your point, Doug, I don't think we're going to get any pushback from citizens on a subdivision ordinance because most of us are not putting in subdivision. There are a few people with some land that think they're going to split it up and put some homes on it, but mostly I feel like this is going to be people coming from outside Poetry to buy a piece of property and develop it, as the folks with Bishop Field have done.
And
So
some things that we're, you know, we're in the process of, and again, I use Bishop Field as one, screening. Subdivisions have screening ordinance. And, you know, take the example of Bishop Field. If the people off of 2440 that back up to, you know, if we had some sort of screening requirements, whether it be live or brick and mortar or even a ground buffer,
right.
you know, between, those are things that we can also look at in a subdivision ordinance. So,
Well, and we don't want to go that way, but I just want to acknowledge, Tracy, a conversation you had with me about looking up green space regulations and things. And let's not get into that conversation right now as my encouragement, because we'll never get out of here. But But there are other layers that we can add in, right, requiring, visual blocks, sound, whatever, and we can work through those, but, I think, again, development is going to happen in poetry at some point. We'd love to think it's not, but it's gonna, unless somebody in here is wealthier than I think they are and can buy up all the land, including the hunt stuff. It's gonna happen, so let's at least have a say in it and, kind of,
And the county's kind of wanting us to have the say, but
yeah.
we gotta have something to say about it.
Yeah, I just don't think, I appreciate their willingness to help us, but they got full-time jobs and taking care of poetry ain't one of them, so. I think, and again, who cares more about what happens in poetry than poetry, right? So I'm not saying they're bad people, they're great people and I appreciate their help, but we really have a vested interest, we're not going anywhere.
There's one thing I'd like to say. I talked to, Representative
Bell.
Keith Bell this week. And believe it or not, about 2 weeks ago, he had a big seminar, invited all the towns in Kaufman County, but we weren't invited. Talking about mud and how to deal with them, how to deal with the streets,
Well, that was
the
Brett.
things that we can and can't do.
That was
Okay.
Brett, wasn't it?
Huh?
That was Brett Money, not Keith.
No, Keith Bell.
Oh,
Keith
that's
Bell's
Kaufman.
in Kaufman, Brent Bonnie's.
Okay.
And so he is going to, we've already got a date set for a couple of us are going to go. He's going to give that seminar to us in early January. Okay, so we're going to be able to kind of get that same information. He has got a world of knowledge. He's been around politics with school districts and all that now with the house, state house. So he's happy to get together with us and show us what to do and all the do's and don'ts. He said, I'll cover you up and pay.
Yeah, well, that's good, and if we
So
do
about
that, we'll
And then
record it.
We also have, Brent Money's, liaison is trying to also set up another meeting with us. They've been fighting, the muds from the, the Hunt County side. And of course, Keith Bell, he's fought muds from the Kaufman County side. In fact, he says, dear to my heart, they tried to put a mud in butting up against his ranch. So he has, he's near and dear to his heart. So anyway, so we do have those kinds of things set up already. We're gonna try, I think if we start at that level, from there, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, then we go back, then we come back to the county level and start, having some little meetings with our county officials, all three counties, and kind of try to put all of it together. But I do think if we can walk into some of those meetings with a little more hidden knowledge than we have right now, we're going to far better off and far more productive.
Yep, agreed.
So I guess to end this, you'd say you're gonna talk to the counties about modifications of this 1445 agreement, and Dale and I are gonna make a stab at a draft
P&Z.
a draft of a P and Z.
Cleaning up so it's
Cleaning
just sort
up
of,
the-
if we call what we have today 1.0, this would be like 1.1 or 1.2. It's gonna be
Right,
like
it's
the
a
next
draft.
iteration,
And I
right?
think we're going to try to put it together as a red line document.
Yes,
I think that'd be like
I do
helpful
too.
with everybody, and then once we agree to it, then we'll come back and legalize it.
Okay.
I think that might be the best approach.
Well, Terry, what are your thoughts on all that?
I didn't know we was going to talk about P and Z in this section, but to your point, I mean, we worked a long time beforehand, and we couldn't all agree in that room. So,
Right.
but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. Just, I mean,
It's a mess.
housekeeping stuff.
Oh,
But there's some,
and a lot of that's going to be kind of easy.
yeah, but there's some bigger ticket items in there too that needs to be
Clarification.
discussed. And my platform I run on, and y'all echoed it. I heard in y'all's platforms too, is the citizen input.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff is we need to put it in there, let the citizens see it, digest it, and then either throw it back at us or.
At least two
Right.
public hearings. At
Yeah.
least two.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
But I was
it's a
more
formal
prepared to
process.
talk about the subdivision
Well,
regulations.
that is the target.
That is
It's
the
just they're interwoven, I
Yeah.
think.
Right,
but
and they are, but
you
but
can
I,
bring us back to that.
well, I just wanted to point out to Tom and everybody, 212 is quite long.
Mhm.
But the recent conversations that we have, luckily it was near the front and it caught my attention. I spent a lot of time in the first part of 212, but a lot of my thoughts, and the reason I voted like I did last week was because I thought, well, maybe we'll have some impact inside that regulation, inside that subdivision. It's real clear. It says in the ETJ, a municipality shall not regulate
That's right.
bulk, height, number of buildings constructed.
That's right.
And then you go on down, number of residential units that can be built per acre. I mean, it's
Density, yeah.
I mean, it's really it handcuffs us.
It
Not to
does.
say that we don't need our own, but this is, I mean, it's a handcuffing document, is what it
It's
is.
gonna be a hard document
Yeah.
to formulate.
Yeah.
Horrible document.
And you know, I think the 1445 agreements, that up front, it's going to cost us some money. Now, would we get that if we add like things that we want to do subdivision wise in the 1445 agreements? If we take all that on our own and do our own subdivision ordinance, we go outside of the city limits, there's an aspect of cost with that.
Mhm.
And, you know, in 2 years, we might have the money to be able to do that.
So nobody's really talked about that tonight, including Mayor. What is our process if we all agree that we want to do that? Who are we gonna hire for plating and for inspection
Engineering.
and engineering and
Well, that's what Tim, I don't know.
Permit
And I
fees.
think we,
We'd have to have an
Manage-
engineer.
we have an
firm.
engineering firm, and they're willing. We've discussed that with them. They're willing to handle that part of it, but there's a lot that
well,
goes
we're
into
gonna,
it.
we're gonna need to model it. We're gonna need to model it and figure out, because they're
Yeah.
gonna have minimums. They're not gonna drive out here to check a culvert, you know, we're
Yeah.
gonna, and that's where the back office is gonna be important, right? It's gonna be important that the back office, the town secretaries and the software they're gonna be equipped with helps with all of that, so we can get some efficiencies. If the guy's coming out to do some inspections, let's like get 3 or 4 all at once, so we get one trip charge, because they're gonna probably have 2, 3, 4 hour minimums, and that gets expensive. And I don't disagree, Terry. I guess for me, we're starting the journey. So it's, I
But we
mean,
need to know that
there's a
that is a
lot we
cost.
don't know
That's why
that we
need
don't
an
know.
outline, guys.
But let's start the journey, and as we're not voting on anything anytime soon. We got agreements in place that we can renew and let keep going for as long as we need to cover us.
Right.
We can, I think, shore those up by making sure they have our zoning and all, and they know, and they also have our phone numbers. So if Brian and Hunt gets one, first one he calls is one of us to say, hey, I got one, I'm working on it, you wanna come look at it, whatever, so we can get a peek. And you know, we'll kind of flesh this thing out one little layer at a time, and eventually we'll come up with it. But you know, if we never start, we're never going to get there. So this is the first step.
Well, Mike, I read these as if they renew automatically. We don't have to do anything.
Right.
It's only by exception. So
Yeah.
anyway, as you said, we've got them.
Yeah,
And
I think that's our backstop. I think that covers us in the short term, and
the short might be long.
And
Yeah.
and the thing is that I think all those counties would work with us, within those ILAs to make sure it's something that worked for our community.
well, they will. But all they can enforce is what's in their subdivision ordinance. They
Right.
can't like make up something because poetry wants it, right? So all we have to do is download their ordinances like Doug has and read them,
Yeah.
and that's what they're going to do. They're going to
Right.
enforce those rules because that's all they have. So
Well, and I think the other thing too is both Hunt and Kaufman County are two of the fastest growing counties in the nation.
Right.
And their people are overwhelmed.
yeah, they're
So
busy.
yeah, I'm sure they'd be happy to
Yeah.
have someone pick up some of their work.
They won't be happy losing money though.
So
Okay, so Doug has, we'll go to, well, let's go to citizen input and then we'll
Yeah.
finish up the conversation. So, we're gonna let whoever wants to talk on this talk. Robin, you're signed up. I'm not sure I understand the stuff here, but
Well, she was looking at the agenda. so
that's
she
okay.
didn't
You wanna talk on this one, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and step up and, share with us, please.
So Robin Followill, Town of Poetry. I know we're talking subdivision, but a huge part that still plays into subdivision doesn't matter who you mimics and adopts. Still, once again, it's something we've talked about, we've preached about. The town needs its own code. So it's all across the counties. It's held to the same standards. The counties will still work with you, but they know, hey, Town of Poetry, they go by the 2021 across the board. that's going to be important if someone even does come in and then wants to, abide by our subdivision. We don't have a standard code across the board. I'm just telling you, I know I'm from a big city, but it's going to make it easier. It's fairer to everybody that comes to poetry to build. You're all built on the same standards. And Doug can tell you come January, TDLR is really
Yes.
fixing to crack down. And I'll tell you something that's kind of crazy that happened yesterday, and I'm sure you've probably seen this. A subdivision. Someone paid, signed on their house. It's official. They decided they wanted to get the battery solar backups, and AC people were out there, and the burner caught, and it went through the ducts, and the whole house is burnt to the ground now, and they didn't even get moved into it because they don't make the solar battery people pull permits and have inspections, and they burnt the house up. So
we
just
need a
little.
solar
Wait
code.
after you get the final building inspection, then they come out and do that.
Correct. That's
They don't
exactly
have
what
to do it.
happened. They got the building, the
problem.
final, and they were out there in the two.
Happens every day.
So now the electrical state code, because they turned around and they pulled the meter before the fire department got out there. The state code, you have to have it. So even though we're a big city, it's something that we're going to implement. That no matter what, you got to have permits for that. I know that's way ahead of us, but let's just say next week you decided you wanted to have solar put on it, and we were under our things. You want to have that stuff, but TDLR is really cracking down now on all the license for people, because people that do solars do not have master electrician license. And so, like I said, I know I come from the big city and talk about we need a code across the board, but it's to protect everybody. And from us, when they come in for that, if we ever have something else commercial come in, we've got the standards. So
I think one of the 1445 agreements, I don't remember which one, does state international building codes.
Well, yeah, that's one we just need to pick one and figure out what makes sense. So we have nothing right now. That's okay. Nobody else signed up. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? I'll give the microphone to you if you want to. Fascinating topic. I know you all are just, I know you're just mesmerized.
Much more boring.
Okay, so Tom, it's kind of an aside, Tom and Dale are going to work together on the next refinement of the zoning ordinance, and Doug, and who wants to work with Doug? I'd like to do it in teams. Tracy, do you want to work with Doug on the subdivision regulation draft? I'm sorry.
He's tired of working with me.
Hey, careful, her husband's here, and he's a big guy, so.
He likes Doug.
Okay,
He
so
won't behave, he just
you
won't.
guys, what is the will of the council? Because I don't get a chance to ask you guys very often for the agenda. We got one coming up in December. Do we want to put P and Z on the agenda, and what would we like the conversation to be about?
Hey, we're talking the talk, let's walk the walk.
Okay, so,
I think let Dale put his thing on the forum and bring it to the table and discuss
Yeah,
in December.
that's probably the best way.
okay, and if we think we're close, then we can start the process of hearings and meetings and whatever,
Just think
okay.
about how we want to do that.
So
next
I'm gonna
meeting
call
is-
that just review, possible updates to P and Z
In
ordinance,
December or January?
December.
December.
Which is the 20th, is that right? The
I
19th?
thought it was
The
the
week
18th.
before Christmas.
18th.
We're not moving it, we're leaving it on that day.
18th.
Or
Well, it's earlier than that
16th
this
or
year.
18th, I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't collide with, it's just,
Yeah.
like this one didn't bother
First
Thanksgiving, that
Thursday's
one
like
doesn't bother
second,
Christmas.
third.
Okay, I am not gonna put, unless you nod your head different, anything on there about subdivision regulations. We'll just kind of bite on the P and Z
It's the
and
18th.
give you a month to kind of figure things out. Cause I can also get you and Tracy to help me go to the two counties and make sure they have our ordinance and make sure they have our phone numbers and they're working with us. Cause again, they're gonna be our backstop while we're kind of getting our own.
I think, like we're all talking about, I think they're gonna be receptive to us wearing our code.
Oh, yeah,
laws.
they're good with it. Well, and we're getting to meet a lot, like that solar farm thing the other day. We met their whole development group practically. I mean, they're environmental and they're this and they're that. I mean, it's in
Oh, and
Kaufman.
I've got all the maps with all the lines across that piece of property for all one.
The solar thing?
Yeah.
What crosses it?
All of the power lines
Oh.
and all of that stuff.
Ballast water.
You kind of looking at it, you can kind of figure out where they're going.
Oh yeah.
If you need it. I've got it.
Floodplain.
Yeah. If you need it, let me know.
Okay, so we're going to close out the discussion on subdivision ordinance regulation. We need one. We're going to sort of slow step our way into it. Let's shift over to permitting software solution, and this is going to give everybody a heads up. This conversation is going to wander a little bit because the two companies we're going to talk about offer not just permitting, but they offer all kinds of things. So we'll try not to get too distracted here. Let me see.
Up there.
Civic Plus first. You want is that yours?
That's fine.
Okay, you okay with that, Doug? Let Tracy
Absolutely.
introduce Civic Plus. Okay, so this is one of the companies we've been talking to.
So just like with most companies that offer this type of software, every section of the software is an expense. I haven't had a chance to go over the permitting software to find out how much it costs, but I did go over the Muni and Muni code, and it's $1,000 a year, which gives us access to searchable ordinances, planning and zoning, all that. We can take pieces of documents, save
Where are
it
we on?
as a note and make notes. Oh,
Civic
yeah.
Plus.
Are we on that? No, are we
Sorry,
on-
I went too far.
Yeah, okay.
Civic
Okay,
Plus.
sorry.
Okay.
It's set right down here. It says Muni Code seamless. Integrate your online code of ordinances into community development code library. Give inspectors, staff instant access to the latest regulations during inspection to ensure compliance with local standards. One of the things what I love about Civics Plus is it's very easy to learn. They actually will come out and train our staff on site for free. And it also gives us access to ordinances and documents that have already been vetted by lawyers. If we do an ordinance or any type of document before we can do anything with it, their lawyers will look over that document to make sure it's in line with either the font size or it's ADA compliant, all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty cool piece of software. I like the fact that you can just copy a piece, save it in your file, make a note to it. Like, I like this to go in subdivision regulations. Oh, I like this part because it has to do with P&Z. Or this ordinance, let's say stormwater ordinance, or, any kind of ordinance that you could possibly think of. They do, this is across the United States. I don't remember how many people. There's tons of people that use them. Terrell uses them. Caddo Mills, Quinlan, Mesquite, Rothwell. They also can service. One of the things that I liked about it, the reason I thought about it was because of you, is they have another portion of the software that is strictly for mayors. And it helps you with your agendas, managing.
Can you filter it by the type of city if you're a charter versus a type A versus
Yes.
type B? You can't
Yes.
filter that?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's $1,000 a year. Is that the maintenance fee?
No, so
That
it's
includes software?
it's their software. So what they would do is we would
Initial
because we
training.
don't have enough ordinances, we can't codify anything yet. And I think we're gonna run into that problem with the subdivision ordinance. So what it does is we send all of our documentation to them. They will send it back and say, these are the things that need to be modified. As a matter of fact, they found 108 issues with our ordinances.
That's all?
108 issues.
Dale.
Yeah. Yeah. With our ordinance, whether that be font size, typos, whatever. Because that's what I liked about it. They went right to our website, they scanned that one section, and that's what they found. And yes, it's only $1,000 a year, so
And that
it,
includes the software.
that includes the software of the whole
All
year.
of it.
Is it cloud based?
I'm sure it
I
is.
think it, I'm
Yeah,
sure it is. Yeah.
Sure it is.
And they have a permitting one also. You know, I'm not one for putting all of our eggs in one basket. You know, it just depends to me because I've got to look at the costs. So whatever's more cost
That
effective.
permitting, that's down the road.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to me, and we're going to talk about another one with
I
Doug here in a
just-
second, but to me, the benefit of tools like this is it gives you the discipline of the process that you're supposed to be following as you do these things,
Mhm.
but it also provides us with the accountability, right? The record keeping, because
Right.
I mean, once we jump into this pond, we got to be ready to swim.
Right.
And, you know, we can't tell somebody we require permits and inspections and then we don't follow through because we forgot or we dropped the ball or we don't have the document.
Right.
I
And
mean,
so
it needs to be very regimented. They
Yeah.
send us the plans, we scan them in. They send us the whatever, they send us the money. And so I
And
think
like-
it will help.
let's say we did the permitting software with them. So you can use your mobile device, anything, payments directly for the engineer, inspector, whatever it is. They can do all that in the field. I know all that. But it's really easy. I had Teresa look at a portion of the
Mhm.
Beauty Pro
Yeah, she
today, and
watched it.
she really liked it. She's like, "This is really interactive." The fact that we sit here and we're paying an attorney by the hour to do ordinances for us when we could have it at our fingertips and it's already vetted with lawyers is a plus to me.
Well, I would probably still be inclined to let him look at it just because he's going to court with us if we get in trouble. But he's
mean-
not doing the entirety of it. He's just reviewing it.
Yeah.
Just to say,
I
yeah,
would,
it looks
I
good.
would say reach out to one of our neighboring cities and
Yeah.
ask them how they use it.
Yeah,
A
well,
lot of cities use it. for
Robin's
their-
going to get up and talk on this one too, so maybe
Okay.
she'll bring us up on.
They use it for their
I'm pretty sure they have
websites.
something like this over there,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, she can speak to how useful it is, interactive or
That's
whatever.
right. Tonight, she's not a citizen, she's an expert
Yeah.
witness. Okay, Doug, you want to talk a little bit about iWorks?
Sure.
That's our other one.
As Tracy stated, they're all out there doing pretty much the same thing. It's just which one has some of the benefits that you may or may not be able to have with one or the other. It's unlimited training. It's unlimited on users. They don't charge you for extra users. So if we keep growing or whatever, so right now I'm saying, it's me and Terry or Dale, and we're out there trying to do something. If we want to add somebody on staff or whatever, they don't charge us for an extra user. Again, as Tracy mentioned, it's mobile capabilities. It's basically hands-free from town hall, and that's what Tracy and I were shooting for and looking at these things is that if we hire a third-party inspector, they will get the limited information they need for this program, but they can go out to do their job if it's an iPad or phone even. Fire it's getting so simple now. I've caught firemen on their phones doing checkouts, now that they've said it's easier for me to just do it here and it's done. So it tracks the buildings, landscaping, zoning, encroachment, driveway variances and appeals that, on the variances. That's a screen of one of their, on permit views that you can actually go in there and see, what you have, who's doing it, typically what you do. And it's all internet based. So a contractor or a citizen can go on the website and form their own permit.
Yeah.
So if they want to take something out, they can go on to this and, we register or can register our contractors on this as well. You don't charge a contractor, but at least you registered him as a contractor for the town. So as you can see, there's all kinds of permits that they have, from new houses to fencing and things like that. So again, with the mobility, it stores all the information. You can actually go in there and search you know, for if you're looking for what a contractor's been doing in the town, or you can even check and somebody says, hey, I've been working in poultry for years. Well, let's see, you know, type thing. So the other thing that's helpful, just talking to these people, once again, they can hook up the GIS systems, which the county can provide us the GIS formulation. They put it together. Again, it's another one of these tools that we can have and use outside of, you know, when we look at, say, grants and stuff where we have mapping and things already. Some of these people will put this mapping together that we can turn around and use, you know, for other applications. So, so it has mapping. It'll tell you all that kind of stuff. Mike, if you want to. Code enforcement, again, before Robin just passes out.
Barking dog, tall grass. Yeah, we're gonna have a few of those.
You know, code enforcement, I just brought it up because I see more a priority when we're looking at things like this. You know, permitting is coming up a lot more than the code is, but it kind of falls into place once you kind of establish one thing and you know, for building, and then you talk about having building codes, you know, then that comes back to how you can do your codes. As a code officer in establishing divisions, we just wanted compliance. I mean, that's all. You don't have to write citations, but you don't want to go to court. In that type of area, if you know, because I had more history of, okay, I had to write a citation. Yeah, they're fixing to go to court. They're compliant. So in court, we'd have it dismissed because guess what? They were in compliance, you know? So that's the goal. Of course, there's still some people that are wanting to. Anyway, got off track. So again, with the code enforcement, it has everything linked to. There's your GIS information of how it works through all of that, the client and all that.
So short question for both of y'all. How much of this is front end loaded work? How much does our secretaries have to input? I mean, obviously it's a software that can track permits and stuff, but how do they go in and build what's required in a permit, fees in a permit? Somebody has to upload and work on the front end of that. Right. And so much of that stuff, like you're talking about checkoffs, we've been working on mobile checkoffs in the fire service for a decade, but it took firemen a decade to front end load all that stuff.
Right.
Now you got to take some points away because it's firemen, but it still took a competent person 5 years to build it on the front end.
Yeah.
It does. So how much?
My apologies to the firemen.
Well, identify.
So, me too. I'll go with you.
So how much front end work's involved in softwares like either one of these?
A lot of that can be. I'm not gonna really guess at it, but some of the stuff it can just be inputted into the program.
So there's a customer portal that
Yes.
can come in.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and my take on it is they have to draw from, I'm going to speak on the permits right now. So they have to draw, the people in the field have to draw from a database that we have, or they don't know what our permits look like. Okay, so on the easy scale, that's going to be easy because we haven't started that process yet.
Yeah.
Now, the ordinances and stuff, we don't have that many. So all they would do, I don't know because I haven't been trained on this, is they can scan those, should be able to scan those in. And then what will happen is the lawyers will look at those and tell us if there's any problems. If that were to happen, we would have to come back to council and we would have to revise those ordinance based off font size or whatever it is. But I would think it's just if we have it on the internet already, it's just a drag and drop.
Yeah,
Robin might be able
But
to
I
speak more to
think
that.
to your point, Terry, I don't think we want to forget about the fact that, you know, we don't have any of this stuff for them to even load in. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of work, but it's part of.
Well, we
Well,
don't have a
sometimes-
lot, so it's gonna be easier.
Yeah.
Well, just
Like-
like that plan of a house there, the contractor's gonna bring it in and it just scans into
Yeah,
it scans in the system, so they're after that, the address, the house,
the development
and all
plan.
that stuff is already preloaded into that when they do the.
What's the
permit.
point of uploading any of that if we're not managing any of that project? We're not going out and doing framing inspections,
Or
pre-pour
our third-party
inspections.
inspector would have access to that.
Yeah.
really.
But that's not what we're doing. We're not doing any of that. We haven't even discussed any of that. I know Robin brings up, adopting a code or something like that, which I'll oppose at a later time. I mean, we
Oh, yeah, we're down the road on that.
we voted to be a city, so we didn't have rules, and now we're talking about bringing in rules. That's a whole nother conversation. But what's the point of this? What's the point of uploading that if we're not going to do nothing with it?
Well, I was anticipating actually being able to do something with it, even if it's a project that I would take on as, we don't have any staff. You're correct. It's no different from you going out and checking culverts or him going out and checking septic
So
systems.
our permit right now would be, I want to build a house on this property. Here's the plat. Here's the location of the house. That's all we can check.
Right, or I wanna put in a culvert, here's the
That's all we
location,
check
here's the
right
culvert.
Right now.
just
and then all of a
permitting.
sudden We don't grow into that, but do we need that
No,
software?
no.
Not
You
right
buy it in
now.
modules, you're gonna buy it in
Yeah.
modules, and we would
Yeah.
buy the
Yeah.
permit module
Can
and
you?
possibly, yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
Tracy
all
said
of these
that.
are modular.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're all add-ons.
Yes, that's
You can
correct.
start with
So
the
like
municipal section.
Civics plus their whole package is like 10 grand.
But we don't need most of it.
Yeah.
We just need to wait to, initially, I mean, we just passed a driveway ordinance or a culvert ordinance.
Right.
I mean, we're
So-
gonna do it manually the first few people, cause we don't have anything, but eventually it'd be nice to have that in a system that says, hey, Bob wants a culvert, we gotta go inspect it, here's his money, move on.
So just to, oh, dang it, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Come on, you're not
That's
that old,
life,
you can't read it
Tracy.
yet.
I
It
know,
just gets worse.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
that-
dang.
that's
It
the
was
thing
important.
that I want to be very cautious because, Robin brought it up and when she and I talked, I'd already found out. TDR, they don't play. I mean, they come in and if they find out electricians are doing electrical work and not licensed or not a contractor, I mean, this is more preventive for us to, and it doesn't mean we're gonna start next week or whatever. It's just preventive because when construction starts, you gotta have something,
So what's the base cost of this one?
The base cost of this is for an annual deal is $2,300.
Does it have a municipal section like the one that Tracy showed us?
Ordinances
No.
and resolutions and things, no.
No,
Uh,
this is strictly a code and permit type
Yeah,
record keeping.
and
Um,
just so everybody knows, by April of next year, our website, everything on our website has to be ADA compliant. So if somebody that's disabled on the other end, like they can't read, they're blind, and they use a translator to translate words, our internet, our website has to be able to do that.
What do we need to know?
so
Well,
That's,
there's
that's
people-
not tonight's conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For more-
But I did go to a website the other day that was compliant, and it was kind of interesting.
It's
I
not
was-
hard-
I
it's-
get it
yeah.
now, cause I thought, well, I don't understand, but I think I understand,
Well,
but that's not
And then-
tonight's conversation.
back on
Yeah.
point on the program that I did ask him because you had mentioned Councilman Fowler about our staffing and whatever, but when there is money to exchange, they cross over with now my mind went blank. QuickBooks.
Okay.
So they intermingle. So there's a little less hands off on that part of trying to some. And plus, if there's anything going on with the system, we can set up notifications that, hey, something's broke. Y'all need to do this or something happened to a permit or whatever. They give notification. So anyway, I appreciate the time.
Okay, so tonight, we're gonna hear from Robin.
Okay.
Because she signed up in just a second, but just to kind of bring it back, so the point of putting this on here was more to create awareness than anything. We're not making any decisions, we're not spending any money right now, it's to create awareness of what's out there, because again, reminding us, we don't have the luxury of gathering outside of a formal meeting and having these conversations. So this is how we have these conversations. So, leave here tonight just with an awareness of, okay, we're gonna need some tools to do some of these other things. This is an example of one of the tools. And we're gonna have a lot of conversation between now and purchasing one, because to Terry and others, there's a lot of questions.
Well,
And,
I was just gonna
and we
say-
may need staffing, we may need contractors. I mean, I don't even know what it'll take.
Yes,
Yes.
I gave him the video.
Mhm.
But what I wanted to point out is that our website is limited on what we can do as far as putting ordinances and all that on there. We don't have, it's gonna cost us tons of dollars to have a system, a website that is able to facilitate the number of ordinances that we will have in the long term.
So are you saying if we subscribe to something like this, it's more of a link function?
That's
Yes. correct,
yeah.
Okay, I got
Yes.
you now.
Yeah, you just click
I'm following
permits and
you
it
now.
takes you to their
Yeah.
website. But it's customized. It'll say Town of Poetry, it'll have our rates and,
That makes sense.
yeah, it's just, we're not creating
You're
all
more
that.
speaking on municipal issues and you're bringing in how we're tracking permits and moving forward.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, Robin, you want to speak on this one with us, please?
Okay, so expert whisperer. So we do use the Civic Plus.
Is that mic on?
I talk loud enough anyway, so I figured I needed it. So our town does use the Civic Plus for the Muni codes, our ordinances. It is very, very easy to use. And it even makes it where, like, if you typed in a subject and it pulls it up, it highlights it in every section that's brought up. But then if you find a section you want, they have a nice little section tabs over here on the right where you can literally click it. It will print that part of the ordinance out so pretty. It makes it very easy to use. Now, what we use for permitting, we do not use that. We use Intergov. And that one, though, is not just a one-sided program. It's kind of like how Dell's is, where it's two-sided, where it ties in your citizen side and your side. The format kind of looked the same like what he showed. It's very simple to use. I mean, because like I said, we have people all the time, and we've been paperless since 2017. So we have people that are like, I don't know how to use computers. We take the time, explain it, kiosk, all that kind of good stuff. So, I mean, I know, like she also said, with like if we use the permitting side on the Civic, they do offer training and stuff like that. For that, I imagine that would be the same way for staff teaching you how to do it. And the good thing is, and I know that some people won't like this part, but some cities do charge contractors for their registration. But the state, there are certain ones you cannot charge. So for the most part, your contractors that pay for registration are your general contractors, your, of course, sign contractors, and like irrigation, concrete. I mean, but other than that, your electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, those contractors do not pay for registration for any city. It's against the law. I mean, the state has waived that fee. So, I mean, then, I know that's down the road, but if we do come to a point where we make our general contractors register, which that protects the homeowner when you have them register, because then your enforcement of whoever it is at that time, then they can hold that builder to the standards and protect against the home person. So, I mean, like us, we have them do so much of they can do liability insurance, but it has to be, $1 million or something like that. And that's, like I said, just to protect your citizens that are building something new. But the systems that they have these days for permitting is very simple. I mean, they make it very, very easy. Anything you're going to upload for your contractor registration, license, and your stuff, or if you're doing a permit, everything's digital. So you're just uploading it, can be done from phones. So it makes it a very easy process. The good thing about the permitting, which I know for homes, I know we don't regulate everything right now, but it's then good to have it in the records. Because we have so many people that do open records requests that have bought their home in the 80s and somehow they don't have their plans. then they do an open records through the city, and now they've got a copy of their plans. Of course, that would be from where we start that
Right.
process going forward, but it's still nice to have.
Mhm.
And if y'all got any, I mean, I can answer or try to answer any questions or
If
something.
if I may ask, how much staff hands-on, person sitting in chair, staff-wise?
Do we have that works the permitting? So
Well, I mean, yes, but the processes of the permit, since it's all electronic.
So like pretty much so electronic as they come in. So the registration, I mean, we are a bigger city, so we do have two girls that sit up front, but they're not busy all the, I mean, they work multiple things as they come in. But I mean, so after you apply as a contractor, they review and make sure you have the requirements that are there. If you're missing something, gets kicked back, emails, you resend it. Plans that actually review plans for our huge city. We have 2 residential and 1 commercial. We are the 12th, I think 12th biggest city in Texas. So, I mean, and we have that minimum. Now, of course, I know we have engineering and all that stuff, but I mean, just in the building permitting department, we technically have 2 permit tech girls and 2 that do residential and 1 that does
'Cause it's
commercial.
electronic, and they go out and do it in their cars.
When it's
Yep.
already set up too.
So, I mean, but like I said, it's very, the model, it's got a standard model. It's really easy. And when you're not needing all the extras, I mean, we're small. We're not going to need all the crazy extras types of permits like we do in Mesquite. Your modification of that is going to be not a whole lot from what the standard core is that they give us to start out with a permitting program. So,
Okay.
Dale, I mean, you've dealt with plenty of them. Do you think of anything else that online that,
No,
I
biggest
mean,
problem from contractors, if you work in different towns, everybody's got a different system.
yeah. A lot of people have been using a lot of them pretty much use the Civic Plus for like the Intercode and all that stuff. And like I said, just because it is so simple and modifying and easy for, like you said, for the mayor to just do all kinds of stuff with it.
So like a subdivision, if a subdivision was going out here, they could go into Muni Code
And and-
look at what our guidelines are.
yeah, and what the good thing is, like I said, it you can put just like, I mean, just a fewer 3 or 4 words that you're like not even sure that they
Yeah.
really go together, but that's what you're thinking of when it comes to that.
And it,
Then it literally just pulls everything in yellow highlights that one word, and then it helps you easier to scan through the document and find, okay, this is where we were looking at, set it up, print it, and then they even have the function where you can then email it.
right.
They have all those great features and tools on the side when you use that program.
And you know, the thing about it is if you're writing an ordinance or you want something, you can go outside the state too.
Oh yeah.
Because all of those are vetted by lawyers
hmm
and, you know, there might be something in another state that we like.
And I know that, Doug briefly touched on the code enforcement, and not, the thing is, once we get that far along down the road, like he said, the ultimate goal is, to get compliance, so if someone's being a real stick in the mud and they could just continuously want to fight you and you do write them a citation, yeah, when you finally go to court and they do come into compliance, then yeah, you've got that full option to say, okay, we can completely dismiss it, or if there was still a real but, then you know what the fee is, then it's up to you what your recommendation is. Like if you reduce it and you take it down to $150 opposed to it being $1,200. I mean, you still do have an option to.
You got history and pictures.
Oh yeah, you have pictures for everything and documentation and your notices and all kinds of stuff to show. Look, we've worked on this. I've got one 14 months and I've wrote over $25,000 in tickets, and that man still is just like, so now we're going to big trial because I mean, but it's just when it's simple, when it's residential, it's always normally all about just compliance. Yeah, you got to show up to court, but if you're in compliance, then it's a dismissal.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's all I really got. I think the one for the ordinance would really be easy and for the town to use also. I mean, as citizens, when you want to look something up, it makes it very easy opposed to, well, I tried to get a hold of somebody or I didn't understand it or I couldn't find it. It's just very simple
Well,
and easy.
I think, you might know the answer to this, but I think that if we have those documents, they have to be online
Hmm.
because people should be able to get that at no cost.
Correct. And without having to do an open records request.
Yeah.
Yes, they're supposed to be basically be available at your fingertips when
Right.
it comes to ordinances
2 clicks
and
away.
yes. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Robin.
Expert.
Okay, any follow-up from council, or have we worn this one out?
I've worn it out.
Okay. I'm going to call the workshop closed at 7:26. That'll help Ann when she does her minutes.
Can we take 5 minutes?
Yeah, we need a break. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break.
That's all I need.
Turn your microphones off. Don't embarrass yourself. David, can you just click the audio thing off, and that way we won't be making noises?
Yeah. Of course, I said the first time.
Y'all have seen that video on the internet, the guy looking at this electrical panel that's completely jacked up and he goes, "Who wired your house?" And he in the background says, "Oh, it's my nephew."
Well, let's pause a minute till she's back here.
House burned down. And she goes, "It was a couple of, hey, how did you know his house burned down?"
We're gonna do a flex.
Yeah, I think,
I told Debbie.
yeah, I think I'm gonna do individual. I'm probably gonna bring my old car, my side by side and decorate it. And I think we all just kind of do whatever we want. You got a tractor, you got a car, you want. I sold it. I sold it.
Sold it.
Yep, I needed the garage space. Okay, so we're gonna call the meeting back to order at 7:31. And we're gonna go into, what would be a normal council meeting here. So first up is items of community interest. Everybody make sure you get your microphones on, please. When you talk, we can hear you. In no particular order, as I say on the agenda here, want to express our appreciation to the Hunt and Kaufman County Commissioners and their teams for all the great work they're doing on our roads. Thank you, interlocal agreements. Terry, are you not making noise?
No.
David, Terry's quiet.
I don't think it's on.
Okay, and then also I want to thank the citizens who took the time out to thank the people that were working on our roads. You know, the commissioner and the county workers catch a lot of flack from our citizens, tragically, who want to try to school them in how their tax money is spent and what they pay at the pump for and all that. And thankfully, our commissioners are pretty up to speed on how that works, so they school them back. But every once in a while, I get a report that, some people stopped and thanked the folks that are out there working on the road. So I just want to say publicly, I appreciate very much. Remember, the county doesn't have to do the work that they're doing for us. They're doing it because we have an interlocal agreement and because they're working us into their schedules. They're doing it very inexpensively. All we're paying for is the material. We get equipment, labor, everything as part of our normal county taxes. So maybe you don't think the roads are perfect, but trust me, they could be a lot worse. So please let them know you appreciate them if you see them out there. Let's see, save the date. I put this one on for the Christmas and Poetry Celebration and Parade. Let me read what Debbie gave us here. Poetry Country Christmas, December 13th from 4:30 to 6:30 in the evening. We're going to have cocoa, cookies, a Santa that wears overalls, which is cool. That's not me, by the way. I just heard he wears overalls. Singing and a live nativity. Singing is going to be the Poetry Community Christian School carolers. Live nativity. And let's see, parade, sign up through events at poetrytexas.org. Please bring items to support Selah Creek, a local charity, and we need volunteers to help on December 13th. Sign up list for decorating Town Hall on Sunday, November 30th at 1:30. They're both are in the entry area. If you forget to sign up on your way out, you can reach out to any one of us or email events at Poetry Texas. That goes to me and Debbie and Secretary Teresa. So we'll catch that. Save the date for the Poetry Farmers / Christmas Market. So we're going to have our second one. First one was a big hit. Everybody enjoyed it. I know I certainly did. Just kind of getting to know our neighbors. That's Saturday, December 6th from 9 in the morning till 1:30 at the Poetry Community Christian School. And I think that's it.
Would that be kind of have an invitation for, say, Union Valley to come out and park a truck and,
Sure.
Absolutely.
because
The
I
more
mentioned
stuff,
to
the
them
better.
about, having community events and they're all for it. So
Yep.
Yeah, call Wayne.
I'll call
Absolutely. Tell them we'd love to have them. Bring
I
their-
gotta talk to him tomorrow. I'll ask him.
Yeah, because he kind of already knows, but I didn't know what day yet.
Okay.
Okay, next we're going to jump into financial reports. Let's see, so this is our standard kit, right? So you're getting the same thing month in and month out. We've got the P and L budget versus actual, a couple of quick reports on our road funds, bank reconciliation, sales and use tax, ESCO reports. Any questions from council on any of those?
The only thing I want to point out is if you look at our franchise, solid waste, we're up 1% from probably we're not even into the first quarter. So that kind of gives you an idea of how we're trending.
Okay.
We're 2 months
We're
into
either
the
smart
year.
or we're lucky, and I'll
Yeah.
take either one.
Right.
Okay, so no questions on financials? Everybody good? Again, we have to be one of the most transparent towns in the state of
Yeah.
Texas. I guarantee you, we show them everything but the canceled checks, which is perfectly legal. We're not required to disclose that much, but I believe it's a good behavior, and I think it's sort of healing us up as a town because you can answer your own questions. You don't have to come in here and demand copies of things. It's in the kit every month. And speaking of which, I'm going to keep saying this because I hear people saying, well, the packet was 200 pages long. Yes, it was, something like that. But again, my goal with the packet, both for the citizens and for the council, is that it includes all of the study material related to what we're going to discuss. So you don't have to print it all out. I just want you to have it because when I was a council member, not sitting in this chair, but in your chairs, it frustrated me when a topic would come up and I wouldn't have a copy of the latest document, or I wouldn't have the backup, or well, you got one of those last month. Yeah, but I didn't bring it this month. Okay, so I'm trying to make these meetings very self-contained, right? Everything. But if the packet's 200 or 300 pages long, you don't have to print everything out. I'm just giving you the stuff so you don't have to go off and look it up. And it also gives you an idea of where I was looking when I brought the topic up, right? So the state law or the whatever.
Mike, I guess I'd point out, it's the first thing I look for in the pack is our general road fund balance is 108,000 and general fund balance is 43,000. Total 151. But to me, that's the most important thing. Is
Right.
We haven't run out of money yet.
How are we doing?
Yeah.
We're doing good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, roads and traffic update. So I don't think I'm repeating myself. Since we met last, if I am, it's okay because it's great news. We've finished up Green Meadow. So we did a pretty big project on Green Meadow where we basically repaved the front 700 or 800 feet of the road. And they actually went back in. I didn't know they were going to do this after the fact and put an extra coat of oil on top of it to keep the dust down and to seal it up. And then they potholed the whole rest of the road. That was one of the roads where we got citizens arguing over how they were doing the potholing. Apparently we have experts living in Poetry that know more about road building than the county that does it for a living. And so they felt, but anyway, the county kind of, you know, they don't get too offended by that. But anyway, pretty excited about Green Meadow. That was a good project. They did a great job and appreciate that a lot. We
Mike,
did-
I just drove down that just to see how that rubberized asphalt would work, and I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Of course, it's gonna take a year to see how it holds up.
Yeah.
But you will also see that goes towards our capital improvement projects.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's a
just wanted
bigger
to
one,
go
so
to
we'll take that
point
out of
out.
capital, not
Yeah.
pothole. We also finished up our we had 3 areas along our roads where we had large, up to 3-foot culverts collapsing, right? So the road was disappearing slowly but surely. And Hunt County helped us with that one. They replaced all of those. And they have since come back and repaved the road over the top of those repairs. And they look great. I mean, they're good for another 30 years. They also, on a couple of them, went all the way back up into the woods and made sure that the drainage leading up to the culvert and out of the culvert was good. They removed trees free of charge. I mean, they did a great job on that. So that was a good one. And then the most recent project was 2400. We've been trying to emphasize, first pass was the worst roads, right? The ones that were tearing up wheels and causing all kinds of grief. But once we got those done, and I think we're there, then we started focusing on the heavy traffic roads, right? So the 2400 right off of 2326 carries a lot of traffic, a lot of cars. So we went in recently and we paid for 2 loads of asphalt, hot asphalt. That was 50 tons. And the county gave us 50 tons on their dime. So we were able to put out, it cost, we paid for 50 tons, but we got 100 tons. Now, in fairness, remember, one side of 2400 is the county, the other side of 2400 is Poetry. That's one of those weird roads. That's our map going right down the middle of the road. So that will keep anybody from saying we're paying for county road or they're paying for private. No, we each pitched in, but I appreciated them doing it on the same day as we did ours. So we were able to go down and drag asphalt for hundreds of feet, and it went from like speed bump road to you can get some speed on it now. It works good. So next up on our list is the road right out here, 323. They actually came through the other day with their tree shredding machine because the trees weren't tall enough for them to even get their road grader down the road without tearing the cab off of it. So they came out and pushed trees back a little bit, cleaned it up, and they're not sure when they're going to get to it, but we're basically going to do from 321, the end of the road, we're going to come 1,000 feet this way and just repave it because it's just gone. I mean, the road's a disaster. And then the whole remainder, we're going to pothole because there's still pavement there. But that'll be our next big one on that. We're trying to, take advantage of the remaining warm weather and the holes in their schedule to get this stuff done.
Are you sure this is the right one? It's dated October 25th. Because
I don't know, which one is it? Sales and tax, sales and use tax?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the October 25th is, but it should be the correct one.
Okay. All right. Just wanna make sure.
Okay, let's see. Oh, also, I want to say some nice words about TxDOT. We had a couple of Texas Department of Transportation issues recently. One, the other day, someone at the end of the road here at Tack and Ag decided to take out the stop sign, the
That was
big,
the
beautiful
yeah.
stop sign. It's laying on the side of the road dead. So I sent a note to Nicholas, who's the area engineer for Kaufman side of our town, TxDOT. And I drove by there like 3 hours later and that sign was standing back up like it was brand new. And I'm like, holy cow, that's cool.
a great thing about those breakaway signs.
Well, and I also sent him a note about our street lights. I know those are controversial, but for months they never turned off and then they never turned on. Now they turn on at night and off in the day. So they got that fixed. And I reached out to our Hunt County TxDOT guy, Darius, and asked him while they're repaving 1565 in Hunt County, you may have noticed they're doing a bunch of pavement repair, if he could fix the intersection of 2426, because the whole corner is like gone. People make that turn and he's going to repave that for us. So I really appreciate the TxDOT guys and just the relationship that we're building up with them. Traffic, they're writing speeding tickets, and if you get one, you probably deserve it. Don't call me, because that's what happens when you fix the road. People just drive faster, and so I appreciate the sheriffs and others helping us out with that. Okay, I don't have any activity updates. Only give them if you have them. Anybody in the council have any activities we haven't discussed so far, Dale?
Talked to TxDOT Paris. They have everything they need. They were asking all the right questions. They apparently said, the last thing he said to me, I don't see any reason why you won't be approved for the Simon project.
Good.
But, you know, it's still government, but don't get your hopes up 100%. But it looks like we're in. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, appreciate that.
I'd point out, I talked to Mike Pace with the TCEQ in Fort Worth about the Bishop Field, and he said four things. He said, first, that pointed out to him that Ray Eckenrode wants to know if the tanks are there and what's going on, and he said they don't need, Eckenrode doesn't need TCEQ to be on site when they go investigate the tanks. They can dig, use electronics, and when they locate the tanks, then it starts a process, and TCEQ is, they have got to let TCEQ in on all documentation, because you can't remove tanks without it going through their protocol. And so they've got to notify TCEQ to go through their documentation, then have a certified contractor do the tank removal. Just anybody can go do that. And then, of course, they have another certified contractor to do the testing. That all has to be done.
Test wells.
And then finally, he said, anybody has any questions, they can just call him directly, which is easier said than done. You call and more than likely you get a voicemail until you keep calling and finally hit on him. But in any case, that's really what they can do now. But if they find those tanks are there, which Pace said their records show they're still there, and same with a woman in Austin, she said their records show they're still there. And the EPA woman told me that almost a year ago. The records show they're still there. So once they find the tanks, and they can do that on their own, then that starts a process, and that's a very legal process.
Thank you.
Well, and I did have, after you had that conversation with him, I did have a conversation with Ray, and Ray reached out and spoke to him directly.
Mike Pace, good.
And right, and he sent me a note. I don't have it in front of me. I'm not going to bog us
Anyway.
down with it. But it was great. You know, he said, "Listen, if there's tanks out there in this issue, we need to know about that as the people representing the land, because they don't want to run into a liability." So anyway, he's talking to the same gentleman that you spoke with.
Well, and I guess the one thing we didn't get into, but I noticed on at the lien, they do have a lien with the Billy Bishop's, as well as some financial institutions, and those people really want to know about it. But if there's a question of where the tanks are, he can just go to this lien holder, Billy Bishop. He should show him exactly where they are. 'Cause
There were 2 liens on there, wasn't there?
yes, there were. One was financial, and the other was
Yeah.
Billy Bishop.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, we know where the tanks are, we think, or at least TCQ does. But if there's any question, he can just go to his lien holder and he'll point to him exactly. So we'll see.
Okay, Terry, you got anything?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move on to F, consent agenda. So you have 3 sets of minutes. Again, we're trying to get better about getting the minutes out quickly. So you have all of the minutes that will bring us up current, including the one from just the other day.
Can we,
And we have a bill from Nichols Jackson, the lawyer. Again, these are under my signing threshold, but I'm just bringing them to council so you know what they are. You can say, "Oh, we're spending money," but it's $322. It's a little more this month because he looked over some of the variant stuff for us and the Bishop Field. I mean, I had a couple little things that were, I guess they're 15-minute. One of them was 30-minute, but trying to be very frugal with the use of our attorney. And I'm trying to do everything through email with him so he can kind of work us in while he's in court or whatever. So I'm trying not to spend time on the phone with him because that slows him down. And he charges us a lot less when I just shoot him an email and say, "I need you to look at this or that." So good.
Mike, I
Question?
guess you have to put on, there was a misspelled name, one of the names in the 27th, October 27th.
Okay, let's move that to regular agenda. So-
number 3 also,
Wait a minute, what now?
number 3 had a misspelled last name.
November
I don't
5th?
think we had a vote on typos.
Wait,
If you don't, that's great.
I thought typos could just be corrected.
Well, I'm
November
okay with that.
5th.
I'm okay with that. So we have, so what, which one now? Tell me what the correction is, Tom.
Okay, on October
27th?
27th, the lawyer, it's on item D, page 1, item D, Bishop Field Mud, the second, third, fourth, fifth line down. The attorney for the developers is Mindy Coney, and it's spelled, correct spelling is Koehne.
Okay, got that? Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
On the November 5th, it's just, my name is misspelled. They put Hendricks instead of K, and it's not an S. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Jimmy.
Okay, just at the front there, not anywhere else.
Yes, sir, that's it.
Where is this?
Front page.
Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Hendricks.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
see,
in the roll call, it's
I
right.
missed that.
You gonna break?
In the
you gonna
pledge,
break
it's
out the
wrong.
guitar?
Roll call's right.
Okay, back to the
Pledge of
consent
Allegiance.
agenda. So I've noted the 2 corrections, minor spelling things, and mark those down. Those will get corrected before we sign and publish. Do we have a motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes and the legal bill?
I make the motion to approve them.
Okay.
All 4 of them.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
Tom, Tracy. Okay, all in favor of approval?
Aye.
Doug?
I'm sorry. I'm asleep.
Okay.
I was waiting for Hendricks.
Thank you, council. Okay, now we're going to move into regular agenda, which is short.
Yes, sir.
I like to have it. First item, item 1, discuss and take action as necessary on annual renewal of Microsoft 365 licenses. So as you know, our back office is Microsoft, and we use their software for email and word processing and all of that. It's critically important. It's also critically important for legal reasons that we don't let this lapse, because if it lapses, all of our historical emails disappear and we would be in like major violation of the law. So thank you to Josh Sinkovich, who dropped in the other day and said, hey, I just wanted to remind you this is coming due. You need to. So I appreciate Josh having our backs and pointing that out. I got on the phone with the folks that we've got it from in the past. And as I note in the agenda item, last year we paid $835.20 for all of the licenses we need. This year we went down a little bit to $802.88. So we saved, I don't know, $33 or something.
Is this not on the calendar? This is something we've discussed multiple times about having the renewals on the calendar.
We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Josh, but yeah,
that's a back office thing. We're working on that. Yeah, this is not something that should surprise us. We know this happens every year. So anyway, discussion by council on renewing of the Microsoft licenses.
I'm fine with it.
Sounds good to me.
Anybody in the audience want to be a Microsoft expert and weigh in? Kenny, come on up, Kenny.
Did y'all ever get in touch with Scott and his group?
Yeah, we got that.
Well, he's monitoring our systems now. We're in his software.
Okay. Didn't he take over the Microsoft for you?
No, he's
Okay.
not doing anything. I mean, he was a little bit helpful when we had some introductory conversations, but he's not.
Okay. I thought he was, because
Yeah,
he should
no,
have taken
he's
care
not.
of that for you.
Yeah, he's not. We haven't gone quite that far, so. Okay, thank you, Kenny. Any further discussion on this? We have a motion to approve this.
Make the motion, we approve the $802.88.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Tom, second by Tracy. All in favor? No, don't pick on Doug. He did it this time.
He was reminded.
I need Doug. Don't run him off. Okay, so that passes unanimous. Thank you, council. Regular agenda item 2, discuss and take action as necessary on adding monies to our road escrow fund with Hunt County. So as I said, we did the 2400 project the other day. That was 2 loads of asphalt that totaled, I think it was just over $4,400. So that was money that I had not moved in there ahead of time. So I need to sort of replenish to put that back. And then my ask is, I'll take all you want to give me, but my ask was for 10,000. So I'll take that 4,200 out to pay that bill. And then that would give me, nearly 6,000 to the good, which is roughly 3 more loads of asphalt or something. I want to keep this escrow positive because it's really allowing things to move fast.
Expedites it so
I
much.
mean, if they got free time, they call me and say, hey, you want to pave some roads today? And I'm like, yeah.
Well,
You know,
and
what
on
you
top
got?
of it, we got 100,000 in that road escrow. So, it's not like we're having to scrape through anything.
Well-
That's why I'm questioning this amount here, whether this is the correct one. I'm looking.
Yeah, and it's,
You gonna look at last month?
to me, the big dissatisfier around here with our citizens is roads, right? So I think we
Yeah.
need to be investing in our roads. And I tell you, when I took this chair, I was a little bit doubtful as to we were going to catch up. But I'll tell you, through these 2 counties, we've caught up. I mean, it's like stunning that, we're in the shape we're in. But we've got to keep investing in the roads. We can't stop. We've got more and more, and the more pavement we put on them and the more oil we put on them, the longer they're going to last. So I'm going to keep it up.
Except the next few months, it might be slower because of the weather.
Yeah.
So we might not be hitting it hard again until March or so.
Yeah, we're not, I think Tracy
winter could be-
pointed out the other day, we could spend, 8 or 10,000 a month on roads and just be fine, but
And,
I don't think we're gonna be able to keep that pace up. It'd be nice if we could, but anyway, spending 3 or 4,000 here, 3 or 4,000 there is not hurting us at all, and I think we're getting just an incredible amount of,
Well, I'm
Of
fine with
progress.
the 10,000 myself. I think it's well worth it, and we've got the money.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
I make a motion to allow
oh
the,
wait, do we have anybody in the audience that wants to talk on roads? Nobody signed up, but if you just, if you just feel so moved, you can get up. We accept compliments if you want to brag on how good the roads are. Okay, now I'll hear a motion on, adding 10,000. Come on, Doug.
I
speak
make a
up.
motion for the mayor, to
Okay, Doug's made a motion to approve the 10,000 to
escrow
the Hunt
into
County
escrow.
escrow.
10,000
second
in
it,
escrow.
yeah.
Tom,
Tom did.
Yeah.
okay, Doug is the motion, Tom is the second, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, thank you, council. Money will go to good use. Okay, now we wrap up with general comments, and the only one officially signed up is Robin Followwill. Robin?
Robin Followville, Poetry, Texas. So just a few little things I had on here. So the farmers market that we're doing on December the 6th, we are going to have a table there that is going to have information, flyers, stuff for the parade floats, for everyone to get more information there. Maybe go ahead and possibly sign up for a float there too. So I've already got the table, got all set up. I talked to Haley. She's going to make me a little spot somewhere in the table chart so we can have that to be out there for information on that. I'm also working on a few donation top things for us to be able to use also for that committee, for us to be able to do like for prizes and stuff like that. Working with our Encore guy to see if I can pull something off on that as well. So got some things going with that. With all the ladies, they have been doing so much hard work on this parade. It's crazy everything that they've put in to make this happen. So, but we are going to have a table so people can get information so that they can come, know what all we're putting out there. So anyways, we're going to have that there. I was going to praise y'all on the 2400, but you already talked about it. So, I mean, I was very surprised the day I came home and all that extra was laid out on the road. I was just like, oh my gosh.
We aim to please.
We love our
It looked beautiful. I was so happy.
We do take donations.
No, just positive remarks will be appreciated.
And then I just want to thank all of y'all, council and our mayor, for like all the time that y'all really put into each one of these projects you talked to. I mean, we all can see and hear how much time and effort y'all are pouring into every single topic. And so it just means a lot to really know that y'all heard what we were wanting as y'all were elected. And then after, like when we got to really come meet and express to y'all things we wanted, y'all really listened to what we want. I feel like y'all have. And so I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all so much. I know it takes up so much time. And so anyways, I really appreciate y'all and the changes that we've actually got to see and how our community is actually like getting to start to do things and being involved, and people want to be involved. So it brings a lot of joy to my heart to finally see that happen. I mean, I love that in my big town, when I'm doing all of my stuff for our big city, but now that I can come home and I get to be part of it, and everybody wants to be in the community. So anyways, thank y'all.
Thank you very much, Robin. Well, and again, thank you very much to the Christmas committee and their willingness to take this on and all the hard work that's going in. To me, it's just incredible to be able to sort of, take the town out of a function like that, give it to the community and see the community rise to the occasion. And I think things like that are gonna build a stronger committee or a stronger community than us legislating a bunch of stuff. And I just personally don't think the town should be involved in stuff like that any more than it needs to be. So I really appreciate Robin and Amy and Debbie and people I don't even realize are involved for stepping up and helping us. And I'm sure we're going to have other things, and my personal desire is going to be with them as well to try to push those out to the community, because you know when you work on something yourself, you're less critical, you're more invested, and it's how we get to know each other. You know, let's have reasons to get to know each other.
Well, I certainly appreciate the community and all the hard work in the background. And this is kind of one of the things that we were hoping for as we move forward, is to get the community involved now, and it's coming to life. So
Yep.
Thanks to them as well.
Yep,
Well,
I'd
we'll
like.
need them. We're gonna need y'all. So keep volunteering.
Yep, we appreciate it a lot. And you know, as we've said before, we've got a lot of talent in this town. We got a lot of, you know, retired talent, active talent, smart people. We're not the smartest people in the town, right? And
Not
so
the
we need to take advantage of those other people out there that, my wife is telling me to hammer the thing. It's not time yet.
She's like, let's go.
Madam Mayor. Anyway, I appreciate all the kind words. I appreciate the council. I appreciate the hard work. And let's stay at it. We got a little time left in our terms. Let's get that done. Tom, I got some checks you can sign for us. Meeting adjourned at 8:01.